Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. I'm your host, Tom Downey. Time to take you through some Cowboys versus Texans grades, and guess what? They're not very positive. We'll start things off with the offense, which, guess what? Wasn't very good again in a key game for the Cowboys. I'll give the offense a D. I'm sure some of you guys want to give it an F. I do kind of understand that. There were some positives, but we'll talk more about the ground game. The passing attack clearly has problems it's had all season long. First off, take a look at your receiving leaders in this one overall, including all different positions. Jeff Swaim, Rico Gathers, Tavon Austin, Zeke Elliott are your top 4 guys. Thompson there at number 5 with 19 yards. Swaim was actually pretty solid. I thought he was okay. Rico made the nice catch. Tavon had the one great play. But where the hell are your actual receivers? Tavon Austin has 1 catch for 42 yards. Deontay Thompson has 2 for 19. Both those guys were involved on the interceptions that Dak threw that weren't all Dak's fault. Cole Beasley was 1 catch for 8 yards. He's your best guy. Where was he in this one? Gallup continues to be not that good. Allen Hurns had a touchdown catch, but he caught 1 pass for 3 yards. It doesn't make any sense to me that the Cowboys can't get their receiving core involved at all. Texans do not have an elite secondary. How does that happen? So grade the Cowboys offense, A, B, C, D, or F again. I gave it a D. We'll talk more in depth about Dak and the ground game later on, but overall, this is just not a good offense. This is a bad Cowboys football team, plain and simple, especially on offense. All right, folks, we're trying to get to 5K subscribers on our Cowboys Report YouTube channel. So go to youtube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report and hit us up with that subscription if you haven't already. All of our great Cowboys coverage all in one spot. Some more grades. Defense, they are next up. Overall, it wasn't bad for the defense, and they actually kept them in the game. In the end, if you give up 16 points, you should probably, at least in regulation, or even 19 overall, you should typically win those games. I'll give them a B-. They weren't the best. There were still some weaknesses, but overall, that's a good enough effort. That's an above-average effort for the Cowboys. Now, some of the issues were in the passing game. That's where I have my concerns. Deshaun Watson, who only got sacked once, kind of had a lot of time. DeMarcus Lawrence wasn't all that effective. A lot of double teams in this one. You need that second edge rusher, or that second pass rusher, be it from the edge or on the interior, to help harass Watson. A lot of yards. Did throw an interception. A lot of rush yards, too. DeAndre Hopkins, by the way, torched the Cowboys. The big gain against Anthony Brown. The team actually threw at Byron Jones. Hopkins is better than Jones, which isn't a big surprise, but Jones has been so great all year long. The defense gave up a lot of yards. That is a red flag, and they played a bend but don't break style. In the end, this Cowboys defense played well enough to win. It wasn't good, but it was good. It wasn't elite necessarily. It wasn't an A effort by the Cowboys defense, but it was a B. I don't want to give them a C either. Still too many yards. That I think was partially because they had so many plays overall. Just wasn't quite enough given how bad the offense played. In the end, though, don't blame the defense for this loss, even though, yeah, they did give up that game-winning drive late in overtime. All right, special teams. That was good. It was an A. I'm very happy. Brett Maher continues to look really, really good. I think I'm going to be wrong on that one. Very glad about that. Special teams was fine, but offense was the big problem there. Dak Prescott, he's a big part of that offense because he's the quarterback. Duh. He wasn't a disaster. The stat line I don't even think indicates that he played as badly as he did. So when it comes to Dak Prescott, it's kind of what it's been all year long. It's been okay. It hasn't been bad enough to pin all of the blame on Dak, but it hasn't been good enough for him to will the Cowboys to a win. I give it a C. Now, the interceptions, I don't think were all his fault. The one to Tavon Austin, yeah, it's a little high. He's got to catch that. That hits Tavon in the hands, and it's an unlucky break that ends up being intercepted. And then the throw to Deontay Thompson was late, but typically that pass isn't intercepted. So when it comes to Dak, it wasn't bad. But when the offense is struggling, you need your quarterback to find ways to make a bunch of plays for you. Dak didn't end up doing that in this one. So I give it a C. How confident are you guys in Dak Prescott? Again, a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, I guess 1 being the lowest, or 0 if you want to cut him right now, which isn't going to happen. I'll stick with Dak around a 4 or 5. It's not ideal for the Cowboys, but again, we know this about Dak Prescott. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Russ Wilson. He's going to be a guy that can game manage you to wins. And with the receiving core around him, how are you going to game manage to wins in most cases? So he's a nice game manager quarterback, but he's not going to be that Aaron Rodgers type guy. And the Cowboys, I would hope, don't expect him to be. If the Cowboys are going to win games, they need their ground game to be elite. And Zeke Elliott wasn't very elite. I'll give him a C in this one. He did everything he could, but when you put up the numbers he put up, it's tough to give him an above average grade of a B or, heaven forbid, an A. Now, he's still actively involved, and he had a lot of touches in this one. He almost had, again, 30 touches in this game. I think it was 27 total, but 20 carries for 54 yards. Now, it's not all his fault. We'll talk about the offensive line here in a little bit, but you need more and better play from Zeke Elliott. I know he's had the minor injury, which I think he's okay from. Zeke was just not good enough. You need Zeke to have the great games like he did against the Detroit Lions. If he's average, I don't think you're going to see the Cowboys win many games. Folks, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Cowboys120 when you sign up and deposit, and they'll give you a 120% deposit bonus. What that means is, put down $100, they'll give you $120 for free for a grand total of $220 to bet with on BetDSI. You're playing with house money if you sign up at chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Cowboys120. I think one of the biggest problems with the offense in this one was the play of the offensive line. It wasn't very good. I'll give them a D+, but I was pretty underwhelmed by how this Cowboys offensive line looked. And now, the run game had issues, as we mentioned with Zeke Elliott. So did the passing game. Frankly, you look at the 5 offensive linemen, who actually played really well in that game? Who played the way that we know they can? Wasn't Tyron Smith, wasn't C. Will, wasn't Joe Looney, certainly wasn't Zach Martin, who had a tough time with J.J. Watt at several different points, and it wasn't La'el Collins. The offensive line was below average at best. This is supposed to be one of the premier O-lines in the NFL, and they were average to mediocre. How are you going to win games like that? Now, the offensive line, I think, deserves a pretty good portion of the blame in this one. I don't think they deserve the most blame, because we'll come back to the coaches, Jason Garrett and Scott Linehan, in just a little bit. All right, some more defensive talk here. How about the linebackers? I'm giving them an A. I was so pleased, if you want to talk positivity, with how Jaylon Smith and Leighton Vander Esch played in this one. Jaylon Smith was all over the field. He looked fantastic, had a sack, had a couple tackles for loss, had a pass breakup. The way that Jaylon Smith played should have you excited about the Cowboys for their long-term growth alongside Leighton Vander Esch. Because guess what? In years past, if the Cowboys didn't have Sean Lee, they probably would have given up 25, 30 points in that game. Instead, they played well enough to win on defense. Leighton Vander Esch was good. Maybe he's not as great as coverage as he needs to be quite yet, but Vander Esch and Jaylon Smith are your future at linebacker for the Cowboys, and they looked fantastic in this one. It's an easy A because of the way that those two guys played. All right, coaching staff time now. This one will be fun. Scott Linehan. He gets an F, right? I mean, if you move the ball as poorly as the Cowboys did, how can your play caller not get an F? Now, you saw some different things. You saw some motion. At first, I got excited when I saw Cole Beasley motion into the backfield because that's different. That's new. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Why are you doing that? He's not going to get the ball. Why is Cole in the backfield bringing another guy into the box? And then he hands off to Zeke. The Cowboys' offense, it's simple right now. They're bad. This is a bad offense. They are near the bottom in sacks allowed, third down conversion, yards per game, passing yards per game, and points per game. This is one of the worst offenses in the NFL, and what bothers me the most, this is what the Cowboys wanted. They wanted to say goodbye to Dez Bryant. They didn't want to lose Jason Witten, but they wanted to use this, we don't need a number 1 wide receiver. Look what Hopkins did to you last night. This is also on the front office, but Linehan, look, guys, he has to go. I think you guys agree with me. You got to fire Scott Linehan, FS in the comments section. Linehan is not the guy to call these plays. Go let Garrett be your play caller. Make Garrett coach for his job down the stretch, because guess what? Linehan is not good enough. I don't trust him. The tight ends are the only guys making plays in the passing game plus Zeke. Where is the receiving corps? Where are the different route combinations? Linehan, yeah, the skill guys maybe aren't the best. He has no idea how to properly use his personnel right now for the Dallas Cowboys. If you guys like this awesome shirt that I'm wearing, go get one of your own from Mizzen and Main. Comfortable.af is the website, and trust me, folks, it is indeed comfortable as F. You will not own a more comfortable shirt than a Mizzen and Main shirt. Performance wear fabrics, and oh, by the way, they're made right here in America. All right, last one. We saved the best for last, but I guess in this case, the absolute worst for last. Jason Garrett, F. He got an F the minute he punted on 4th and 1 or 4th and 1.5 from the 42-yard line of the Texans. What are you doing, Jason? He is the ultimate conservative coach. And guess what? I don't like conservative coaches. Jerry Jones, by the way, implied he didn't like conservative coaches either. He wanted to go for it. Dak wanted to go for it. Not going forward on 4th down, as we said during our Cowboys watch party, was a mistake. And to sum up Jason Garrett in the perfect way, the Cowboys in their last 20 games are 10-10. The Cowboys, since they have Zeke Elliott, are like something like 90% on 4th and 1s. Go for it, Jason. What are you doing? Why are you playing scared? You played not to lose. Guess what happened? You ended up losing. So, yeah, maybe you keep Garrett till the end of the year because who's going to call the plays if you fire him? And Scott Linehan, he's got to go. He is not the guy to get this Cowboys offense, this Cowboys team, from anything beyond average or mediocre. That's what the Cowboys are right now. Garrett did not do a good job of managing the game there. He deserves an F for fire as well, because it is time for Jason Garrett to go. He is not getting the job done as the Cowboys head coach. All right, folks, we'll see you guys tomorrow for our next Cowboys Report.